Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Muggle Minute. It's been a while, we had the holidays and stuff, and hope you guys all had a really good holiday and New Year's. I certainly did with Jurassic World Live to keep me busy during the holidays. So today we have with us Pokefodder again. Hey Fodder.
How are you? Happy New Year, Posey.
Happy New Year to you. It's a bit chilly still, but I could still survive.
Yeah,
Anyways,
it's like a miserable 60 degrees here today,
oh
so
jeez.
it's miserable.
Yeah, it must be. All right, so for this episode, we found a few quotes, and some interesting quotes from one from Pottermore, one from Niantic, and we're gonna talk about that. They could these quotes. I mean, they potentially are talking about gameplay in a sense. So let's speculate on that. Anyways, the first quote we have here, I'm just gonna read it real fast. This one's, I think, from Pottermore somewhere. It says, Wizards Unite will be all about working together, and players will have to explore their real world surroundings to solve a global mystery, all the while encountering artifacts, magical creatures, and familiar characters from the wizarding world that we think you'll know quite well. So, this obviously seems like it's describing some gameplay sort of, thing.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
what's your read on this, Fodder?
I think I think if we break this down just a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody when they heard Niantic was making another AR game, it everybody just assumes that we're going to be using the infrastructure that Ingress Prime and Pokemon Go actually have already in place.
Mm-hmm.
So the exploring your real world surroundings, I don't think that comes to a surprise. I think that's pretty straightforward
Yeah.
for most people right there. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think it takes a whole lot of reading into anything to come up with that.
Yeah, that's a safe
Um,
assumption.
yeah, right. That's kind of what all augmented reality games are at this
Mm-hmm.
point in time, right? Um, but then you know, to solve a global mystery, and I think for somebody who's a lot smarter than I am, I think we have all the clues. I think we kind of have a puzzle. Like if you think of a puzzle laying in front of us,
Mm-hmm.
and we just have to get the border done, and then the pieces start filling in. But I feel like between the two videos that we have and what we have here, I feel like we kind of know the broad strokes of this game. It's just about everything coming together because if you think about it, the global mystery that could be as simple as the calamity. Like,
Yeah.
what is
Yeah.
causing golden snitches to be flying around back alleys of London? What is causing Nimbus 2000s to be blazing down the freeway? So that could be it. Could be as simple as that's the global mystery that we're all trying to solve.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you and me and a lot of the people on WooTube or WooTubers are trying to dig deeper into this and then like really extract some hidden meaning. And at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day, maybe it's just all right here for us. Maybe we're trying to make it way more difficult than it needs to be. But
Mm-hmm.
use their real world surroundings to solve a global mystery. And then while we're trying to figure out, maybe the ultimate goal of the game is there will be different missions. Maybe a weekly, maybe a monthly, or a quarterly mission or seasonal mission, and your day to day is walking around exploring your neighborhoods around you, where the global mission is what is causing these erratic behaviors of things that are exposing themselves to the muggles.
Mm-hmm.
um and then while encountering artifacts, the golden snitch, the broomsticks, it could be very much that simple. And then we have, it says there are characters that they think we'll all know. So there's obviously going to be some faces that we know and we recognize, probably
Mm-hmm.
some new characters along the way that maybe offer guidance in different, just kind of here's our new mission, and what is it, Mathilda Grimblehawk? and maybe that's a character that signs off on the weekly mission.
Mm-hmm.
And it very well could just be, if we're breaking down what that paragraph is about, it very well could be that simple. What we know of Pokestops and portals in Ingress Prime. Maybe those are going to be port keys, and there's some kind of a link there between me here in Southern California and you in Vancouver,
Mm-hmm.
that we can link up our portals to, or our port keys, and maybe I don't know, somehow transfer information across about what we've discovered. Maybe it's that easy.
Yeah. Although that does sound like one mechanic that was in The Walking Dead, Our World. It was like you the part where you mentioned about the porkies. They had this thing where if you're in the same guild, you could fire like a flare, and then
Uh-huh.
your guild mates can kind of like teleport to your place wherever you fired the flare at, and then you guys like team up and uh, beat hordes of zombies to then progress in the guild missions, which by the way give a lot of really good stuff. um,
Right.
so yeah, they could implement something like that when talking about porkies and stuff. So when I was looking at these three sets of nouns that we are supposedly going to encounter: artifacts, magical creatures, and familiar characters. So, um, I, at first I was wondering why like artifacts. That doesn't make like what artifacts are there really in the wizarding world? But then I remember like it could be the wizarding artifacts like of the wizarding world, like Voldemort's Horcruxes, which although have been destroyed, but some other dude might make some more or whatever, or the Phosphorus Stone, or as we've seen in the trailers, the Golden Snitch, or the Nimbus.
Hmm.
It could be those, but I was also thinking about it. Could also be Muggle artifacts. I know a washing machine doesn't sound that exciting, but uh, if you guys do remember, Mr. Arthur Weasley, Ron's dad, was head of the Department of uh, what was it called? Department of Misuse of
Artifacts, right?
Muggle artifacts or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and famously in Chamber of Secrets, he enchanted this flying car where Ron and Harry got in and absolutely just got themselves obliterated. So yeah, uh, and it kind of links to the theme as well. So I think maybe that could come into play. The calamity, or the evil side, I guess. We don't even know if which side's evil, like the exposing, just the side that's trying to expose the wizarding world to the Muggles. Could just screw around with some Muggle artifacts and then enchant them in an attempt to expose the wizarding world or whatever, and then
For
magical creatures. I guess that's quite self-explanatory. I mean, just the all the different fantastic beasts, Nifflers, the basilisks, phoenixes, whatever,
sure.
all those. Although we don't really know what they're gonna do with those, which that could be a interesting discussion for maybe the next part of this podcast. And then familiar characters. This is a bit sad because a decent amount of the beloved
Right.
characters are probably dead. Since from the clues that we have so far, it does seem like it's gonna be set in the present day, where the second Wizarding war is over, and then
Right.
Harry's head of the Aura department or whatever, and then I think Hermione was Ministry of Magic or something, and then yeah, all that stuff. So a lot of people are dead. Dumbledore's dead. Um, so that's
Well, and
Uh,
they have children,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
so maybe this is we get to learn more about these children that they've had along the way, and maybe that's kind of leading the way to, the next set of stories. If you look at Star Wars started at one period of time and then went back into
Mm-hmm.
the prequels and then jumped ahead to the future after the original trilogy. So maybe this kind of opens the door to the after, the original set of Harry Potter world, if that makes sense.
Imagine this whole game just being a one huge ad for J.K. Rowling's next like book series. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's that could totally happen. But my main point is all these familiar characters. Um, they're probably more gonna be of the younger generations, which that makes sense.
Right.
The either the students at Hogwarts when we were reading the books, or their children and stuff. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, that's the little first little bit of information from Pottermore, I believe. I think it was like in the first trailer announcement. They wrote a bit of that there, and then something else we also were looking at was something written by Niantic, and this part reads, and I quote, Niantic said the game will pioneer all new technology and gameplay mechanics and take advantage of its full AR platform. Players will learn spells, explore their real world neighborhoods and cities to discover and fight legendary beasts, and team up with others to take down powerful enemies. So, what do you make of this? All this stuff? New technology, gameplay mechanics, and fighting legendary beasts, and whatever.
Yeah, and I think these two statements
Mm-hmm.
kind of go together.
Yeah.
I think they match really well together, which makes me believe both of them. And I know one of them is definitely 100% accurate because it came directly from the Niantic website.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of what, when I sit around and I'm thinking, okay, what is this game going to be? You come back and look at paragraphs like this after you dive down the rabbit hole of everything it might be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what about this and what about this, and you make it this huge elaborate thing. When you get done with that and then you go back and look at your notes and you're like, well, here's what Niantic said it's going to be. And I kind of think they're telling you straightforward, here's what it's going to be, knowing that people are going to say, yeah, but there's going to be more. And I think this is kind of at the root. If you were interested in trying to decipher
Mm-hmm.
what codes may be given there and what clues, I think you do yourself a great justice if you come back to this original paragraph and it says, players will learn spells. And I think we got a clue about that in the most recent trailer, which I think is
Mm-hmm.
like 3 weeks old at this point. Um,
Yeah, it was like
and it's a
right
very
before
small
Christmas
sample
or
size.
something.
Yeah, yeah. December 20th, maybe, I think is when it came out. And it's a really small sample size between the first and the second, but I believe they were 5 weeks apart.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we go off of that, because that's all we have to go off of, I think we have another one
Mm-hmm.
due, if not next week, the following week. But in that second trailer, there was the little spell casting symbol at two different spots, or wand gesture
Mm-hmm.
at two different spots within that video. So I think players will learn spells. I think that was addressed in that second trailer right there in front of us.
Yep.
Explore their real world neighborhoods. We've already gone into that. And cities to discover and fight legendary beasts. Same type of deal. You're gonna Niantic is a big company. I've said this before. They've said it numerous times about getting out and exploring your world. And so it's naturally the thought process is, if we're going to have an AR game, it's going to be about getting out and walking around,
Mm-hmm.
and then team up with others to take down powerful enemies. It goes back to kind of what you had said, and I know Ghost Shiny Hunter, we had him on in our last one, and he kind of did a breakdown of what he would like to see incorporated from other AR games, what could be learned from other AR games. And then you just mentioned it where in The Walking Dead, you can shoot off the flare, and that will invite or allow your guild members to join you, even if they're not standing next to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so we could have something like that where you take down these powerful enemies. Um, if you look at Pokemon Go, you have the big raid bosses
Mm-hmm.
where, unless it's what the Deoxys attack form, you
Mm-hmm.
can't solo the powerful enemies. You have to actually have a team of people with you. Um, so I think that all, if you look at the two trailers that we have and then apply them to this, I think we know a lot about the game, and which is what I said before. And then
Mm-hmm.
the Pioneer all new technology, I actually did some research and put out a video yesterday
Yep.
on the CTO, Phil Kesslin, I believe is his name. Back before Wizards Unite was even announced as a thing, he said that they were looking to dive into more augmented reality as it has to do with sound and the immersion into the world around you.
Mm-hmm.
Your 9 to 5 might be really boring, but in Pokemon Go, you're a trainer, you're a Pokemon trainer, and you're not really emerged into that world because all you have is your phone. And as he noted in his keynote, sorry about that. Um, as he noted in his keynote, people don't walk around with their phone directly in front of their face. So he wanted to add sound into that where, you could hear what was going on around you. And with it being more socially acceptable to wear headphones in your ears now, I could see that totally happening. And, they added some audio clues into Ingress Prime when they did the re-release, but they didn't use everything. And so I think this is a good opportunity for them to go further down that road. And for the people that'll say, well, I don't want to walk around with headphones in my ears all the time. That's kind of rude. Bose, and this is really wild. Bose, the
Mm-hmm.
the stereo company, is putting out or has just released sunglasses that in the arm have little mini speakers that don't go in your ear, but they project sound directly into your ear from the arm of the glasses.
Oh no way. That's perfect.
Right? And so if you think about it, technology is advancing so fast that you may not have to walk around with AirPods in your ears, but
Mm-hmm.
you can still be uh, emerged into a different world than the one that we actually live in. And so I don't know that Bose is actually doing this in collab with the Niantic, but the technology is there. And one other thing that really lends itself to sound playing a big role in this future title here is that Niantic had like a garden in Japan that was a virtual reality or an augmented reality garden
Mm-hmm.
that your whole goal was to find, and there were Pokemon creatures. I think in the video it was an Eevee
Mm-hmm.
based off of sound. So you
Wow.
were completely immersed into this Japanese garden, this mythical Japanese garden. And the whole goal was to use sound and audio clues based on where you were hearing the call signal of an Eevee, based out of your ears. Was it in front of you, behind you, to your left, or to your right? To like hide and go seek, basically. And all
Mm-hmm.
you had were audio clues. And so I think, again, maybe I'm looking for something that's not there, but it just kind of lends itself to the technology should be there, and I think this would be a good time for them to drop something new, so you don't just have a Pokemon Go reskinned.
Yeah. All the audio technology and stuff all super interesting. By the way, if you guys haven't watched Father's video on it, I'll leave a link down in the description, and yeah, you guys should check it out. So, um, audio could be one huge thing they could implement to make it really different from Pokemon Go. Obviously, there's a lot of classic sound cues that we have from the music that could totally be implemented in this game in many ways. And yeah, aside from that, when they were talking about new technology and gameplay mechanics, I was thinking like, unlike Pokemon Go, it seems like Wizards Unite really likes playing with the ARGs, the AR games, the the not in the sense of the games, but with their trailers and stuff, they're putting out stuff, clues in the real world, and they want
Hmm.
you to make connections somehow, and figure out mysteries. And in our
Hmm.
case so far, the trailers that want us to try to figure out what's gonna happen in the game. But I think they it seems like they really like doing this, and they might. And what I was thinking is when the game or after the game comes out, um, they could just do this every once in a while, like maybe just for weekly missions. They'll release some clues in the real world, like in either in their advertising or or explicit trailers, or not trailers, short videos or blog posts, or whatever tweets, to give us clues, and for us to solve mysteries, uh, not in game, but outside of the game, but then bring those
Hmm.
conclusions to the game, and you know either find stuff, or do whatever, get some rewards or whatever.
Hmm.
That could, I think that could totally be a thing. Like for example, in Blizzard's Overwatch, they do that a lot. When they're and when they're trying to release a new, or before they release a new hero, they just drop clues everywhere, and then you'd have all these people decoding hex and stuff just to figure out like what the next hero is gonna be or whatever. So I could see that probably putting in play. Well, it already is being put in play, although the game's not out yet, obviously. But even at even ex, they could extend that to after the game's release, and then implement that in some way. It could be a periodic thing, a weekly or monthly thing, just to tie in the real world community with the game a bit more stronger. I mean, it's good for them either way. Like their social media accounts or whatever, they get more attention, and then players enjoy it, and then it just the people have to spend more time on figuring out this stuff, which is overall just better for their game. So I was thinking that that could be um, implemented. And then as for the other stuff, players will learn spells, explore real world neighborhood and cities, discover and fight legendary beasts, and team up with others to take down powerful enemies. I think you totally nailed this point. The second trailer, that was quite explicit, that it's telling us that we're gonna learn spells, potentially how to learn spells, I guess, and then just explore the real world. That's quite um, expected of an AR game. Fight legendary beasts. Although, like, I don't really get like why are we fighting legendary beasts? I thought like we were only like dealing with people who want to expose the wizarding world. Like, what do legendary beasts have to do with that? Unless like those people are like releasing them everywhere, and we're like trying to like contain them or whatever.
Right.
Or just for fun, for sport. That's kind of weird. Um, Team up with others to take down powerful enemies. I mean, I just find this part a bit weird because um, they said fight legendary beasts and team up with others to take down powerful enemies. Like, these are separate things. They're trying to imply
Right.
that this powerful enemies aren't legendary beasts. So like, what
Right.
are we fighting? Like the calamity people, the those folks, or maybe some remnants of the Death Eaters of Voldemort's squad or whatever. I don't know,
Or
but
maybe there's something new that they're going to
yeah.
create,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or the good folks who are trying to expose the wizarding world or whatever.
Right.
That's all yet to see what's gonna happen with those. But yeah, it's quite exciting. Honestly, I love Jurassic World Live, but I can't wait for this game.
For sure. And
Yeah. Mhm.
going back to what you had mentioned before, if in the first part of your segment there,
Mhm.
when you think about that second trailer, after the broomsticks go by,
Mhm.
and then we have like a sketch drawing of a broomstick that has the spellcast overlay on top of it.
Yeah.
But remember after that, there was a little note card that said, like incidences of UFOs is up 90% in this area,
Mhm.
although none have been attributed to flying broomsticks. And then next to that, it read something like incidences of minor damage and then rubars, and then it was signed off on by, I think, Matilda Grimblehawk again. Maybe that's how we get our missions. Is
Yeah.
we'll in game we'll receive some kind of a little note card that says basically that, and it'll be in that kind of a style, and that'll set the weekly, the daily, monthly missions.
Mhm.
Um, and that's how we are introduced to these characters throughout the game. Is different people depending on which division of the Ministry of Magic
Yeah.
the sighting or the anomaly is associated with. It very well could go, and I think that matches up pretty nicely with what you speculate there in the earlier part of getting clues in game or through social media or whatever. I
Mhm.
could totally see that happening. So I think you very well could be onto something there.
Yeah, and on that point, that would make a lot of sense because unlike say Pokemon Go, where Professor Willow's there, and then you got all the three captains, and they're all introduced within your first. I don't know how long it takes someone to get to level 5 where you start picking your teams, but probably an hour or two
Hmm.
of playing the game. But if they do like if that's how they introduce characters like on a weekly basis or monthly basis for through these missions, then that gives them an ongoing storyline for folks to follow,
Yeah,
which it would keep people interested in the long term in this game, which I think would be a really a clever thing to do. And
for
um,
sure.
yeah, it keeps everything fresh. Uh, we have the suspense there, but people are interested in the story, like because unlike Pokemon, Harry Potter is all about the story.
Yeah,
That's yeah, the narrative
it
is the
is.
most important part of it. Obviously, it's a whole book series. So
Yeah, definitely.
so yeah, this is exciting stuff. Can't wait for this game. So yeah. Anyways, that's gonna be it for this episode. I hope you guys did enjoy that. And yes, I'll link the video Fire did on the audio stuff in the description down below. And other than that, any final words, Fodder?
No, I think, now that we are in 2019,
Oh
we
yes, we're in
know that it's
2019.
coming out this year. And so, like at this point, it could be any day. Now, realistically, it's not
Oh
going to be today
yeah.
or tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But now, before when we were 2018, for basically a month, we were like, okay, well, we can relax. It's not this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then now that the clock turned over, now it's like,
Mm-hmm.
is this the week? And, I still think we're months away from launch
Mm-hmm.
in my heart of hearts. But at the same time, if it drops sooner than that, I'm not going to be sad.
Okay. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next episode then.